During that time, there was a lot of confrontation that was happening between surfers.
A lot of people got upset about how crowded it got. They, organized and got jet skis banned.
At that time, the boundaries of paddle surfing had yet to be really fully tested.
I really feel like the 2010 winter was the tipping point for the modern era of big wave paddle surfing. That was a semi-El Niño winter. There were a lot of big days, but that specific Maverick swell just opened up such new territory for all these guys.
Well, you look at 2010 and then that iconic Mavericks Invitational big wave event, and you're calling these events on several days before you really truly know what the swell's gonna do. That was one of those things where yeah, we know the swell's coming, but we had no idea really truly how big it was gonna be.
I'm going through roller coasters, panic, relaxed, me too, all week, content, anxiety.
When I first got to the beach, I realized how big it was. It was super huge. I saw the waves breaking over the jetty, the waves were coming through the beach.
Oh, man.
That morning we showed up and it was perfect conditions.
Wow.
Like offshore, but not too offshore. The first few waves that were ridden that morning, rusty long. Insane. Pulled up into this big, huge bowl. Shane DORIAN, same thing. He was catching it just outside the main bowl and backdooring the main bowl. That hadn't been done before. And that was a turning point for me, like going, what? Like, we can do it bigger here.
Oh, heaviest test wave of his life, man. That's insane. That was unbelievable.
Almost the entire event was held on what we call the outer reef, the outer realm. Like, I don't think anybody made it out of the heat riding regular Mavericks.
That day, as much as we would have loved to have had a tow rope, it was a perfect day to push the envelope on paddle surfing.
It just almost like overnight really changed, where it was like kind of weird to like tow in on most of these waves when they knew that they could actually get into them with their bare hands. And this latest generation of big wave surfers have like basically done what so many generations before them just dreamed about doing.
One thing that nobody realized prior to that was that the younger guys that grew up with jet skis would in a way kind of like become disinterested in that. People were giving them jet skis for free and you could have them wherever they wanted. It made sense, or it was possible that that's what they would have embraced. And for a lot of different reasons, they didn't. They decided that's not the pinnacle of this, that's not what I'm interested in. I want to paddle those waves, and I want to paddle the waves that no one has paddled yet.
As much as we look at Mavericks as one of the best paddle waves in the world, to know that it gets bigger and it moves outside, that wave to me, there's still some of the biggest waves to ever be ridden are going to be ridden at Mavericks. And that's why I'm still kind of enlightened by it and still wanting to play it.
I mean, if you're looking at these different spots, Mavericks clearly to me is one of those spots that always stand the test of time. You know, use the analogy of like musical acts, and there's other bands that come and go that are relevant in the moment. I'd like to think that Ghost Tree was more of that one-hit wonder. It had its time in the limelight and then came back to where it was meant to be.
you look at what happened to Ghost Tree at that point, yeah, I mean, it did feel like it fell off the map. If you were to truly charge a place like that on the biggest of biggest days, you'd be doing it solely on your own. And to me, it's a wave that is so truly challenging. So anybody who's charging it really big now is taking a huge risk. We don't have the safety mechanisms that you have at other places in the world, you know, by a machine.
In order to push the limits of what you can do on a big wave, I think toe-in surfing was critical. It put us in places where we never thought we could go.
It's funny because the paddle movement never stopped. It's always been there. When we were toe surfing, we never stopped paddling. It was just that, to us, was progress.
We figured out at a certain point, you could actually do that on a paddleboard with the right equipment, the right mindset, the right safety, and the path began for a whole renaissance in traditional big wave surfing.
Look, the future of paddle surfing for me is we're going to start to see performance rise, how we surf big waves.
People are doing now what they did toe surfing like 5 years ago. People are doing that paddling.
They're summiting Everest right now, I think, you know. I'm curious to see how much further they can push it.
I mean, who knows what's possible, what people could do, you know, like in the future, what kids will be doing. It's hard to fathom.
And I think that we still have yet to see the truly biggest wave ever be written. And I think that toe surfing is still going to come into play when those days happen, because there does come a limit where it's just not possible to catch the wave on your own two hands. You know, where's that limit? We got to find that out, right? So that's always going to be tested.
Hi everyone, I'm Michel Bourez. Welcome to the Red Bull Surfing YouTube channel. So this is the best place to get all the content from Red Bull, Airborne, All In, 21 days and no contest. Click here to subscribe and click over here to see the latest Red Bull content.